Saturday, February 17th, 2024, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today we're going to look at silver, but also in the context of war. And why war? Well, because I think it's pretty clear right now that we are indirectly at war with Russia, but just for now. The feeling I got this week from all that's going on in the world, or even the last couple of weeks, is that the powers that be, if you want to call them that, because in the end of the day, I think they're just puppets, the people that we see supposedly making decisions for us on behalf of us. Yeah, they're just like puppets for powers that we don't know much about. People behind the scenes, or the synarchy, which is rule of the secret organizations. I think they're more determined than ever to drive us even closer to direct confrontation with Russia, and that would probably involve China too, which is really crazy. But I think the reason they're doing that, though, is that our economies in the West are falling apart. Yes, the Chinese economy is weakening, but it's still growing at around 5%. And the problem with our economies in the West is that we've had so much debt infused into it, especially after the '08 crisis. The size of government is so big. We've got so much rules and regulations, not just to do with business practices, but to do with this climate change agenda, which hopefully, and it seems like it's kind of falling apart, this climate change narrative. But does it really matter if it falls apart and at the same time we go into a major war? And what would a major war do aside from killing many people, of course, and wasting a lot of money? Well, it actually helps the economy, so to speak, because the powers that be, the people in charge, they have the excuse to implement a war economy. A war economy is basically a dictatorial communist economy. You tell everyone what they have to do. There's no, free market. Not that we have that much free market anyway, but everything is run by the government. Industries adapt to create, weapons. Everything focuses on the war, like it did in the 1940s in the U.S. Like General Motors went from producing automobiles to producing tanks. So I think one of you guys made a comment the other day that is the quickest way, war spending and deficit spending for the war, is the quickest way to get the money into the economy. And yes, our economies are on their last legs and there's too much debt. The other thing it will do, it will give the Federal Reserve the excuse to start printing again, to do QE. They did QE, did you know, during World War II. They kept the 10-year yield below around 2.5%. To hell with the balance sheet, because it's war. We have a threat. They have to build a threat. And that's what is happening right now vis-a-vis Russia is all about. Putin is going to invade Sweden. Putin is going to invade Poland. Putin is going to invade the UK, Great Britain. Putin is going to send nuclear weapons to destroy satellites in space. China's going to do this and that. You need an enemy. And You might not agree with me. You might actually think that there is a threat. I personally don't think there is a threat. Um, it's all scaremongering to be honest. But they don't have a choice. And like Gerald Celente said, when everything else fails, we take it to war. So what about? You might be thinking, what about silver? Well, I had a look here on TradingView at the gold silver ratio. Actually, going back, it goes back quite far here. It goes back to, let's see what year that is, 1931 actually. And so I'm going to bring up the chart now. So you can see here that in 1940, the gold silver ratio was almost at 100. And then the US entered the war, of course, December 1941. We all remember, or not remember, but we all know of Pearl Harbor, 7th of December, the date that will live in infamy, right? As FDR said. Yeah, and isn't it interesting that that gold silver ratio started dropping from December 1941? It was around 97, and by, let's see here, yeah, January 1946, it had gone down to below 45. So that meant that silver outperformed gold during World War II. And that's normal because silver is a really important strategic metal, not just for industry, but for warfare. And I think it's one of the reasons why they've kept silver manipulated, because they have to accumulate a lot of silver. I think the Chinese are doing it. They are, of course. The Indians are doing it. The Americans are probably doing it, and we don't know. They're doing it behind the scenes. They don't want you and I to have all the silver. They, it's really strategic, as I said. So even if we don't have a direct war between the West and Russia, I think the situation in Ukraine, I just listened to part of the speech that Zelensky gave to the Munich Security Conference, which is basically the Davos for the military-industrial complex, I would say. And I couldn't really listen to him for that long, but I read, he actually tweeted and he said a few things, and people gave him in this conference a standing ovation for like a couple of minutes. So it just goes to show that, unfortunately, our leaders, industry, of course, they would be behind him. More war, more money for them. Of course, there's more deaths, but they don't care about that. So what I'm trying to say is it's going to continue, even if we don't go directly against Putin. And I guess the only hope we have is that Congress or the House of Representatives in the States don't go ahead, and approve this 95 billion. I think it's about 60 for Ukraine billion deal, bill for the Ukraine. I think it's going to be harder now with all that's happened in the last 24 hours. And I'm not going to talk about the guy in Russia that died in a prison, but I think the pressure is going to be immense on these congressmen and women to get this through. As I said the other day, it's becoming very much like you're either with us, or you're with Putin. So that's how it's becoming. The same thing here in the UK. Back to silver. So we saw that silver did quite well the last couple of days, and we saw also that the gold silver ratio dropped a little bit. It's still got a long way to go, as you can see here. This is a monthly chart, so you won't be able to see too much, the drop we had last week, but it has, and we're going to look at the silver chart too. So what I'm trying to say here, I'm not saying silver is going to take off or anything. We've been waiting for over 3 years now, but I think we're close. We're getting closer, and usually in the bull market for precious metals, as you can see here in 1980, the gold-silver ratio on a monthly basis got down to 17. I think intraday it got down to 15 to 1. And also in 2011, that ratio got down to around 32. So silver always outperforms. And if you, in a precious metals bull market, and I'm not saying here that I want war so that this happens again, that silver outperforms gold and we have a precious metals bull market. I think this would happen even without a war, because they're going to have to find a way to inflate anyway. But I think they're going to do it through war. They will inflate through war. So it's not that I want war. So yeah, we could very easily go back to, well, we could go back at least to 45 or 50 or even lower. 15 to 1, of course, is like historically a really key ratio, and it's been kind of where the ratio is always reverted to, and also when we had a bimetallic system, that ratio was pretty constant around 15 to 1. So I think that's possible. Again, I don't know when it's going to happen, but one thing I know, I think silver is going to get scarcer and dearer, and also more difficult to get. And that's why I'm going to continue to stack silver and gold if I can too. So let's look at the price of silver itself. And I saw someone tweet it out. I think it was Rick Rule or someone else talking about the 26 level, that if we break 26, we could jump to 200. Yeah, that would be nice. But I can see why he was talking about the 26 level. It used to be that 30 was really important, but they've kept, silver since the beginning, well, actually since the middle of 2021, they've kept it suppressed below 26. It's amazing, isn't it? With all the rising prices we had of everything, they kept silver like suppressed. Maybe it's because they knew what was coming, in terms of war, and they had to prepare. They had to accumulate the silver. They couldn't have the sheeple, us plebs, buying up all the silver. So yeah, I can understand why if we break 26 now, though, there's like a triple top there, or even a quadruple top. So it's going to be a very important level, and that could catapult the silver price towards 30 very quickly. I think that's why Rick Rule, I think it was Rick Rule, but that's why whoever said that, in my opinion. And I think we need to go one step at a time. I'm not thinking about $200 silver, but I think what could happen is that silver becomes inobtainium. Like you won't be able to get it, especially if we are at war with Russia. And the only way that they might, the powers that be, the military, the armed forces, if they need a lot of silver, well, they need to let the price go up, because we're not going to let go of our silver at $22 per troy ounce, but at 200 or 500 we would. So that's the way I see it. And I think we're getting closer, though, to silver outperforming gold. And that is a good sign. I mean, we've seen it outperform, but I think we could see silver start moving. And let's hope there is no war. Let's hope there's a miracle, and all the leaders around the world, not just the BRICS amongst themselves, but BRICS, the West, let's hope they sit down and talk to each other and resolve things and stop lying to each other and lying to us. That would be the best thing, but I wouldn't hold my breath. So, yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath. And with that, I'm going to wish you all a very good rest of the weekend. And yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow doing our usual Sunday live stream. I'm going to try to get Clive Thompson on. I'm going to contact him. I'm sure he'll say yes. And yeah, take care. Take care then, and talk to you later. Bye.